there's no bright line test. Like there's no number test. Like, oh, you have 8, you're a syndication. Where you have to go qualify for safe harbor exemption. In your example, if you have multiple people who are capitalizing through a real estate fund, they are just required to ensure that they're comporting, with their own safe harbor requirements. When you say 100 people under here, my mind immediately goes to like a 3C1 private investment company, because you're capped at 100 beneficial owners, they call them. You have to be extremely careful in a 506B. If you do a syndication, you bring funds in and they're private investment companies, a lot of funds will actually preclude that, because if the fund was created for the purpose of investing in your syndication, then they'll look through that and they'll count the non-accredited investors, if you're relying on a 506B toward that actual underlying investment offering. And so you can get over the 35 real quick. But let's take for granted that let's say there's 5 funds, if you will, maybe even a sponsor and 4 funds. As long as they're qualifying for their exemption, they can be the joint venture. Remember, those investment LLCs are the ones that are going to be in the joint venture agreement. And then each one of those constituent LLCs is going to be managed by either an individual or presumably another LLC if they're smart. Okay. And so those are the folks that are going to have the decision-making power and have to have decision-making power with respect to the joint venture LLC itself. So if we have joint venture LLC and then we have, investment company 1 through 5 LLC as its members, then the managers of the investment companies 1 through 5 are really going to be tasked with having fairly equal voting rights. Certainly major decisions they're going to be able to, talk about. You can have a manager managed joint venture, in which case one is quite clearly been delegated the day-to-day responsibilities without it looking like a security. But the fewer voting rights that you have and the fewer major decisions you have, of course, the less it looks as though you're actually contributing to the affairs of the business, and then it's tips towards the scale of a security. And then, of course, if it's a security, you have 2 options. One is to qualify for a safe harbor exemption, which is what I do, or you register the security, which I kind of do, and a Reg CF is technically a registered security. But I don't do Regulation A, and I don't do any other Form Ks and register anybody else's security. I want to keep you exempt under Regulation D.